Hi, everybody. Happy rainy, soggy Thursday. I'm Vicki Janowski with Greater Wilmington Business Journal, and thanks for tuning in for another installment of our weekly Biz Talk series. Today, we are talking about downtown Wilmington, which has not seen any shortage of construction this past year and is really having some projects come online. So to give us an update on that, we have a couple guests that will be with us. As you can tell, my voice is going, so I apologize to all of you who have to listen. I'm gonna try to talk as little as possible and have the experts and those who are down there every day now downtown kind of give us that first person view about what's happening now and what they expect to happen in the future. So joining us today is Holly Childs, who is the new president and CEO of Wilmington Downtown, Inc. She started just at the beginning of the year and has hit the ground running. And also Lucien Ellison, who's senior managing partner with East West Partners. They've been involved with several projects, including River Place Downtown, which is really the biggest construction project going on right now. So he'll be able to give us some updates on that, as well as other things that East West has been working on. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Holly, and just to start us off, let us know a little bit how it's been going so far that you've started with WDI. And also, I'm curious, since you're coming in from an outsider perspective, having moved to Wilmington, how would you describe where downtown Wilmington is right now?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Vicki. Can you hear me?
Might need to turn up just a little bit, Holly.
Okay. Sorry about that. How about now? There we go. Good. Okay. Sorry about that. Technology, right? Yes, coming into Wilmington, and I've been here now in the job 6 weeks. WDI is a fantastic organization. As you know, it's been around since the mid 70s, so it's got a long history. Previously, WDI was very focused on trying to attract redevelopment to downtown. And so the redevelopment efforts, the downtown revitalization was really the key to WDI getting started as DARE back in the mid 70s. We have transitioned from that into being more of a group that is organized events. So WDI has been well known for the downtown sundown concerts, and I get asked regularly, even in this COVID environment, when we're bringing the downtown sundown concerts back. And so my response to that is we're changing gears a little bit now at WDI. My background is not in concert production or events production or Main Street development. I spent the last 5 years working for a private commercial real estate development company. And we did an $800 million project in Morgantown, West Virginia, and have been in other places with other development companies. So my background is really on the private development side, with some public experience as the economic development director for the city of Cincinnati and an area just outside of Phoenix, in the metro Phoenix area. So, I have a good sense, I feel, of private-public partnerships, certainly. I'm looking forward to really working with the developers on the development that's going on. And so I'm really excited that Lucien and what his folks are doing. Wilmington's unbelievable. So my first impressions are, wow, what a great opportunity, what a great time to be coming in. I think that WDI is going to focus more on expanding our role to be very project-based and partnership-based. And we're going to look at how we support development throughout downtown, whether it be residential or jobs focused.
And you mentioned Lucien and the work they're doing. Lucien, do you want to kind of give us a broad view of where River Place stands and how that's going?
Sure. Well, we're pretty much finished with the construction. We have a few punch list items that we're working through right now, but sales of the condominiums have been really good. Stephanie Heller and Keith Beatty from Intracoastal have done an excellent job for us. And we have 82 of the 92 condos either under contract or closed at this point. And the retail we're equally pleased with that as well. Patrick Riley of Cape Fear Commercial is heading up that effort for us. And we're actually 94% leased up in the retail space. We've got Axis Fitness, Mellow Mushroom, DGX, and Bank of America. They are all operating at River Place currently. And We've got Ruth's Chris and Citrus Salon and the nutrition spot. They are coming online this summer. So, we've got a lot to offer new businesses in downtown. And the apartments are doing their steady. We are, leasing apartments every week. And I think we're a little over 40% occupied on the apartment. So if you, from a perspective of what we were trying to accomplish between East West Partners and the city of Wilmington when we started this project, I'd say we've done what we started out to do, which was to bring residences and businesses to downtown Wilmington, specifically to activate Water Street and make it a better place to live and work. And we're proud of that.
And let me ask, just to get a sense of scale, and I should point out, if people do have questions for Lucien or Holly, feel free to put it in the Facebook comments and I'll pass them over. But Lucien, that number of people moving in, can you give us an idea of, if everything's fully rented and leased out, how many units are we talking about in terms of people living downtown in this mixed use building?
Well, we have 171 residential units, 92 of them are condos and 79 are apartments. I guess the best way to describe it would be the number of parking spaces we have to lease out to our residents, and that's 235. So that's about the maximum number of people we would have living in the building at one time.
And Lucien, I know that we talked with you last year around this time for our WilmingtonBiz magazine, for our real estate issue, just about this influx of downtown projects. And this was all pre-pandemic when we did that interview and had you on the cover about it. So what's changed since then? It didn't seem like construction really slowed down during the shutdown or during the pandemic, since it was deemed an essential service. Did you notice any impacts, whether it was from the building side or the leasing side, in terms of your timeline for River Place?
Well, we certainly felt the effects of COVID in the construction of River Place and in finishing up. From the manpower on site, I mean, we probably had, after COVID hit, we probably had 70% of our workforce at any given time from the time, COVID hit till the end of the project, which is a big hit. I mean, we have at one point we had over 100 people a day working on the site, and to take 30 of those people away, I mean, it was hard to maintain that schedule, and it did slip some. In terms of material procurement, that was difficult too. I mean, a lot of things got delayed in getting materials to the site, and that was a big challenge for us as well. So we definitely felt the effects of COVID, and it was a challenge. And from a leasing standpoint, from the apartments, we couldn't get started moving residents in when we wanted to, and so you talk about the leasing season in Wilmington, and we kind of missed that. Although with COVID, it definitely changed. It was an unusual season. And from a sales standpoint, yeah, things shut down for a good while when COVID first hit, but we've rebounded nicely, and we feel good about where we're going, and in terms of the last few units getting sold. So.
And Holly, so your predecessor, Ed Wolverton, had thrown out a number last year I thought was striking when he was talking about the units in River Place, but also there's other apartment projects that are going up or have been constructed downtown with Sawmill and Pier 33. I remember he had estimated last year that could bring almost 3,000 new residents downtown, which is a very large figure if you think about the size of the historic district. So when you see these projects going up, what do you think they mean for the future of downtown? Do you think this is going to change the nature of it, or usher in another wave of development, or what do you see going forward?
I do. I think that our downtown has been growing Sorry, can you hear me now? Sorry about that. I think it's been growing so quickly the last few years, and you're right. A lot of these new projects that are coming online, I think there's going to be more demand for services. I wish that I could just count the number of times I've heard people say, "Well, we need a grocery store downtown. We need this, we need that downtown." And I think it's great that Lucien's bringing in the retail piece to the development, and it's doing so well. And as far as residential goes, I mean, I know, the apartment growth, the condo growth, also the houses. I was one of 3 people that bid on my house downtown, and turned into a bidding war after it had been on the market for 2 days. So I can kind of personally attest to that coming into the downtown, it is going to change. It's going to continue to change and grow. And I think that's because there's been so much investment in the downtown. And what we want to do is make sure that there are also the jobs so that the people are here to support, all during the day, all of that retail growth. And they are truly able to live downtown, but also to work and really enjoy the downtown every day.
Okay, we have a viewer question. Let me throw this at you guys, see if you've heard this as well or not. But Jim Roberts is asking, he's heard there's no available buildings for economic developers to recruit companies for. Is that true? I don't know if you've been here long enough, but what do you know of the available market for office downtown?
Yeah, there is. Well, of course, there are some large buildings like Bank of America building, right? There are some very large, iconic buildings that are available. I would say it's difficult right now to find 2,000, 2,500 square feet for small retailer. We've heard that before, and WDI is kind of in the business of connecting people with brokers and folks that own spaces to help them, secure those deals. But it is going to continue to be a good problem to have. I think that space is going to be hard to come by. I don't think office space is necessarily in short supply, especially now in this current COVID environment. I think, there's still office space available.
And speaking of offices, Lucien, East West has been involved in another project, which was the restoration of the Gaylord building. It used to be a grocery store a long, long time ago. What was that like doing a historic preservation project? And also, what did you guys learn in terms of office demand?
Well, that project is, we're super excited about it. It was certainly a challenge to take a over 100-year-old building and turn it into something new. I mean, we basically, the only thing that are remaining from the original building are the brick walls. So, I mean, it's a brand new building inside, and it looks great. We actually opened for business about exactly 1 month ago on January 18th, and we've had pretty good success. I think we already signed up about 50 members, and we have more tours every week. And so, in terms of demand, I mean, we're seeing it so far. We're ahead of pro forma, and people are thrilled. The members we have that are working in the space are thrilled. Actually, East West has moved our offices over into that building, and I love it. I'm really excited about staying in downtown and being in a new building like this, and being able to collaborate with other businesses in the same office is great too. I don't think did I answer your question, Vicki?
Yeah, I think so. I think we wanted to get an update how that building has gone. We have another.
I'll say that it was, Monteith Construction did a great job, as well as BMH Architects. I mean, there was a lot of challenges, and Don Woods, his engineering firm, they all did a great job of working through on-site challenges with such an old building, but it was a lot of fun.
I would just add to Vicki, I would just also add on that project specifically, I was in there the day that they opened on the 18th for a tour with Nick Clark, the CEO of Common Desk, happened to be in town that day. And it's a beautiful building. I mean, it was a great, not only a restoration project, but also bringing that level of office space, co-working space to downtown. I mean, that's what we ought to be shooting for, right? Is we ought to look at some of these buildings and how do we take buildings that are underutilized and create spaces like that, because it really turned out great. And I think there's a real need for space like that.
And then Lucian, since we're doing a rundown of all of y'all's projects, how about Northern Gateway? That was another major mixed use project that was discussed early on that would have moved a lot of components over to where we call the Northern Gateway part of the street part of downtown. And then pause button was hit on that for a little while. Is there any updates on that one?
Well, we are slowly starting to get that deal going again. As you said, when the pandemic hit, the city of Wilmington, they said we've got to push pause on this project. We've got too many other important things going on to mess with this at the time, and we understood that, and that's fine. And we've had recent conversations with the city of Wilmington to get the talks restarted, and we hope that can happen. Certainly, that area of town is the next development opportunity for downtown. And there are a lot of great things happening in northern downtown. I'm really excited about the North Riverfront Park opening up. And then, there's some other development residential projects that are slated to happen in that area. So when we do get a chance to redevelop that site, I'm going to be really excited about it because it's another good opportunity.
And we should point out, and people probably already realize this, but both River Place and the proposed Northern Gateway, these are public-private projects that we're working on. That's why you say when the deal is working with the city and the city paused. Lucien, is that something that for you guys or for East West, do you do a lot of those in terms of, and I guess, how do I say this? Is there some challenges there when you can't just do the project yourself, but you're working with government partners as well?
Certainly, public-private partnerships present some challenges. I mean, I think that the city would fully admit that there's some red tape that slows down the process a little bit when you're working with a municipality. But our experience with River Place and working with the city was fantastic. We worked directly with Tony Cottle, the deputy city manager, and he was great to work with, as was his staff members. I mean, they were really knowledgeable, and they worked tirelessly to help us get this thing over the finish line. And so I think we're going to have the same experience if we get the chance to develop Gateway. But it's certainly, there are definitely some challenges associated with public-private partnerships.
And we have some great questions coming in about retail and parking that I want to get to. But first, since we're doing these updates on the projects, let's talk about another proposed mixed use, potentially major project, one that East West is not involved with, but the county is, and that's Project Grace. And Holly, I saw that WDI recently came out and addressed Project Grace or added their voice into that. What made you want to do that, and what are you guys calling for?
Yeah, we're calling for total redevelopment of that block. I mean, I think it's something that the county has been considering and studying for a while now, since 2015, 2016. And so, that block is very underutilized. It is a parking deck, some surface parking lots, the county library, which, the county library, I know that's the most emotional building on the block, right? That people are kind of for or against what happens with the county library. But when you look at that library, compared to other libraries, not only in New Hanover County, but if you look at it compared to libraries that you would see in a city that's growing like Wilmington is growing, you look at the downtown and what the people who live downtown deserve in terms of a library, that's not the facility they deserve. So, I think it's imperative that WDI gets involved in how do we best influence the quick, and quick, it's got to be faster than 5 years, right? I mean, and Lucien's right. Whenever you get a public-private partnership going, there's positives and negatives, right? I mean, it certainly, you get a lot of people working together, but sometimes that does slow down the process. So from WDI's perspective, What we're doing next week on Tuesday is we are hosting a panel discussion, a webinar format where we will have folks from the county. So we'll have the county staff, we'll have the developer, the architect, and just try to get some feedback around from them, from kind of the real story, the history of the project and what's next. But I think it's important to note, while the county is considering, and that's why we're hosting this on March 15th, the MOU for this project to go forward, we want to make sure people know that it's not to the development agreement stage yet. So there is time that, nobody needs to kind of overreact right now about Project Grace. But what we want to make sure that happens is it continues to move forward in a positive way.
Okay, so now that we kind of have an updated basis of where these projects and proposals stand, let's get to a couple issues that have been discussed about downtown for at least the decade I've lived here that comes up all the time. One is parking. So Gerard Newkirk has a question of, are there any plans to accommodate parking and logistics challenge with the influx of downtown development? Especially when we're talking about all these new residents moving to downtown.
I can say from our perspective, we're continuing to work with the city and county. One of my many meetings for today, it's amazing how many committees you get put on when you first get in the door. It's like, but one of them is the Downtown Parking Advisory Committee. So we're working with the city and then also, with the county on the county parking availability, trying to see what to do about parking. I think, there are going to be challenges as the city continues to grow right now. And given the COVID environment, the parking is down, but whenever that comes back strongly, I think to support all of these projects, yes, there's going to have to be some work around what to do in terms of parking for downtown. Also, as we're talking about the North Waterfront Park, once that Live Nation, facility comes online, and they're expecting to be open in June with a month or so to gear up, but they're expecting late summer concerts. So they haven't released a schedule yet for when those are happening. But I think then it becomes even more imperative too for us to support public transportation, because with this parking, continuing to be a challenge as we grow, we need more support behind WAVE, behind the bus and trolley service, so that all the people that are enjoying living at Lucien's development can get around town and see, go to a concert and go to dinner and galleries and what have you. I think there's just a lot we need to look at beyond just number of parking spaces.
And another area is retail. Lucien, maybe you have some insight since you all have actually negotiated with retailers recently. But we have another viewer who is pointing to Charleston, which obviously is a case study for fully, revitalized downtown. And they're pointing to the national retailers on King Street, like Gap and other stores that exist alongside local stores. That discussion of trying to recruit national retail names to Front Street or to downtown, I feel like comes up every couple of years, and a debate about whether to go after that or whether we have the population demand for that yet. What do you guys think about that? And also, Lucien, what was it like in terms of approaching retailers for River Place?
Well, I would say that really the driving factor is the number of people that are living downtown that's going to decide whether we can get national credit downtown. So I think Charleston, they're farther along. They're probably 15 or 20 years ahead of us in that respect. But whether or not we're getting national retailers downtown, I know that the number of people that are either living downtown or are soon to be living downtown are only going to help boost and support the retailers that are operating in downtown. And I think it's also going to be an opportunity for other retailers and other businesses to open up downtown with that many more people living here. So I think it's only a positive that all these residential projects are happening. Pier 33 is coming online, Flats on Front's coming online. We got Sawmill Point, River Place, and all those are just going to further support the retail business in downtown Wilmington.
Okay, great. And Holly, if you want to end us on a forward-looking note here, just in the very short time that you've been here and been able to, still digest the market, where do you see the potential being at what downtown could look like in another year, 5 years down the road?
Yeah, I think it's going to continue to grow. I mean, certainly just as we've been talking about, all of these residential projects that are on the horizon that are starting to open up are going to contribute to more growth. And we've seen not only in WDI, we're asked many times to kind of provide that information about downtown residents, residential growth, but also about incomes. I think the other thing to see is that our purchasing power is increasing downtown, right? As more people kind of come into the downtown and are working, as we have more tech jobs downtown. And, that's what we really need to be striving for, is to also increase downtown incomes for everyone, so that we can, bring up the livability of downtown. I think you're going to continue to see that trend. There's a lot of investment being made, and I feel like that's going to continue. And as our retailers are supported, more come. I mean, they can kind of build upon the success of others. So I'm very encouraged. I mean, I think it's a fantastic downtown, a lot of momentum, and now is a pivotal time, I think, for Wilmington to really see this tremendous growth.
All right, and like I mentioned earlier, our cover story for the new edition of the Business Journal, which comes out tomorrow, will delve even more into this downtown development and what's coming up next idea. So be sure to pick up a copy, subscribe, or go to WilmingtonBiz.com, and you can read all about that. Thanks for listening. If you wanted to catch up on this or our other biz talks, which recently have included how the local vaccine rollout plans are going, and also the money from the endowment from the hospital sale, the plans for that. You can catch up with those, since we now have a podcast that's available on Spotify or other streaming platforms, or you can go to WilmingtonBizTalk.com, where we will have all the videos listed, as well as links to our podcasts. So Holly and Lucien, I know you guys have a full day of Zoom meetings. I think everyone can understand that. So I want to thank you for taking your lunch break time with us and giving us this update. Appreciate the information, and we will, I'm sure, continue to be covering these projects as they continue to go along. So thank you very much. And thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you.